What's up, squad? Welcome back to the We Are Gods podcast. This is the first official episode where I have both of my co-hosts with me, my man Juan, my man Willie, and I'm going to give you guys like a breakdown on why it was necessary. I'm not even going to say why I invited them on the pod. Like, it was absolutely necessary that I have my guys with me on this podcast journey. These are two of my best friends in the world. These are two men who I look up to, and I don't fucking throw that shit around loosely, saying I look up to someone. Like, I legit look up to both of these dudes, my man Willie, my man Juan. And today we're going to talk about this mission, right? This podcast is a mission, right? It's about figuring out ways to have dope fucking conversations around optimizing our health, around achieving the bodies of our dreams, right? Because to a certain extent, all of us, we've made transformations. I'm at the place now where I literally still wake up in the morning and I fucking look in the mirror and I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck, bro? You have abs. Like, that shit still blows my mind sometimes. So, speaking from the perspective of a dude who used to be morbidly obese, 360 pounds, diabetes, high blood pressure, fucking self-esteem issues, to now, wake up and feel, just feel like a god. It's like surreal. So I guess we should start off with that, right? Willie, you had a significant weight loss transformation. Talk to me a little bit about your journey towards this version of yourself.
Yeah, man. Like, it was funny. My son just had his 18th birthday the other day. So I had a moment where I was trying to go through emails and look for pictures like of us. Cause sometimes like your phone will have like different stages or like archives and some things are lost. And it actually put me through this reflection because I had so many notes about like workouts I was doing in like 2009, 2010, and like emailing like trainers and shit. It made me realize that it literally took me 14 years to even get to this point. Like I sometimes like always talk about like 2017, but I was like emailing trainers and working out and taking supplements and all this kind of shit in 2009, 2010, trying to get my physique. So it definitely was a long journey, man. Even with the advent, like social media, like being what it is today, like you think about it, we rode the waves of that in the weight loss journey. It took a lot. I think ultimately what I learned from the journey was that it does start with yourself. As much as I wish it was like a pill or I was like hoping that some trainer would like motivate the shit out of me, it never worked. At the end of the day, bro, we can always find excuses for why shit doesn't happen. So I think for me, like it was really just something that had to click inside of me. I just got sick and tired of being fat and looking at it in the mirror and like really not even seeing a person that I even respected. But yeah, man, 2017 is when it really like the switch clicked on for me and I'm where I'm at today. And even now, bro, like I still every single day deal with challenges around my health and fitness, but it's just different. It just looks different now than it does.
So we'll talk more about your challenges, right? But first, give the listeners a context of where you were, like in the beginning of your journey.
Yeah, man. 2017, I was 330 pounds. I was in a really bad relationship. I had a brand new baby who was premature. I had 2 businesses. I was working and I just basically suffocated myself with food. It was almost like a slow death. I would consider it probably the closest thing to a accidental suicide that you can think of, just overly eating and eating to numb the pain. And it created a whole different version of me. And in 2017, I went to go out of the country and I literally wasn't even allowed to zip line because it couldn't fit the harness around my leg. And I came home and I said, hey, enough is enough. And trust me, my own mom wanted me to do weight loss surgery. That's how bad it was. But I was like, nah, man, I'm 30 years old. I can't go out like that. And it really was like a mental shift. And then for an entire year, I tracked my macros. I worked out every single day and I became obsessively compulsive, becoming a new person.
So you said your heaviest was around 330. What do you weigh right now?
175 pounds.
No. Look at this dude. Do that math, right? 330 to 175. Well, that's 155? 155 pounds?
Yeah, bro. A whole different person. Like when I show people my pictures of when I was obese, they don't even believe that was me. Like it literally is like a jail photo, like a before and after. It's insane.
That's insane. Yeah, no. And obviously I'm privy to a lot of the details of that journey and I know how fucking amazing the detail, like how dope. And I want us to get into the stories, some more of these stories eventually, right, during the podcast. But I like me knowing who you are. This is the reason why I needed you by my side on this podcast, right? Because you understand the nuances of this fucking journey, even though you, like all of us, we still have our struggles, right? And I think I do want to talk a little bit about that today, right? Because I think people have this idea, once I lose the weight, boom, magically my life is fucking perfect. And that's not at all the case. So you alluded to some of the struggles that you're still experiencing. Talk to us a little bit about that.
But I think it just shifts, right? Like, I think and maybe it's something like myself, but I think anybody who's listened to this podcast, I know we talk a lot about high performers always want to go to the next level. So at one point is I don't want to be fat no more. And I think now the struggle is, hey, is my abs as defined as I want it to be? Hey, when do I stop just dieting and when can I just be normal? Exactly. Like, why can I just eat whatever part I want to eat like everyone else? So I think the struggles are just different. Obviously, for me, it's like really getting to a point where I feel like satisfied. And I think that sometimes feels like an asymptote. I don't know if it ever gets there, but I think for me, it's just less every single day trying to like stick to the promises I made to myself, making sure that I'm making more healthy decisions. Because we talk a lot about this, Brix, and me and you go back and forth on it. There's a big difference between losing fat and then eating healthy, and they're completely different strategies. And so now I'm trying to be more thoughtful about eating for health and longevity than I am just for fat loss. So
yeah, like you mentioned, there's a big difference between eating for fat loss and eating for health. You don't necessarily have to eat healthy in order to lose fat, right? I think both of us experienced what it was like to focus mainly on eating for fat loss. And that included a lot of fucking diet soda. That included a lot of processed protein supplements and protein cakes and cookies and fucking Quest chips and rice cakes. And there's still a lot of processed foods that are a part of your typical fat loss diet. So yeah, no, and I think it's important for people to understand that. That's why I wanted to highlight that, like eating for fat loss and eating for health are two different things. But after you lose the weight and then you're like, oh shit, I still feel a little shitty, right? And then you start to introduce more whole foods and you start to notice, oh shit, this feels a lot better. Anyway, that's another transition in itself. But anyway, my man Juan Gabriel,
you said that.
Yeah, I said it.
You said it right.
Okay, yeah. Now I'm trying to work on my R's,
Gabriel,
man.
that's the Spanish enunciation.
Yeah.
So Juan Gabriel. You can also say Juan Gabriel.
Juan Gabriel. Nah, I like that. I feel fancier when I roll the R.
You sound fancier too.
All right, so talk to us a little bit about your journey. What was your heaviest? And yeah, talk to us about the stages that you've been through in your weight loss journey.
Yeah, similar to Willie, man. Looking back and just thinking about how long I've been on this journey. I was in shape when I was younger. I played high school, college football. After that is when I packed on weight. My son was born when I was 31. And right after that is when I got up to my heaviest. So the heaviest that I've been is right around 300 pounds, officially recorded like 294. So that's the biggest that I've been. And from there, it's been a yo thing for me. And similar to a lot of people where I tried all the fad diets. I remember the last thing I really did was a juice cleanse. Mm-hmm. I think I was like 270 pounds at one point. I got it all. I thought I lost 50 pounds in 40 days. And then I packed it all back on and more. So that's where I remember after that juice cleanse, I got up to 294. And again, my son's super young. I'm doing really well. And at the time I had a sales job. I'm doing really well there. And I remember Googling weight loss transformations. And that's how I found you. I found you in 2016. And obviously, again, the journey for me has been up and down throughout the years. As I said, I was in shape when I was younger, but that was really the start for me because the physical me, I would gain weight, lose weight, but the mental part of taking that on and realizing, hey, I don't want it. I'm not interested in just a fad diet. I got to figure out this eating thing. And that even took me a long time. I didn't really track my foods. I think I found MyFitnessPal way back then too, but I would track it, but I didn't really understand it. And really developing a relationship with you and hiring you had me realize macros, understanding what proteins, we need them all. So not cutting anything out and understanding how all the foods are important. So for me, it's been like really getting the mental aspect of creating, for me, it was more creating a life that I want to be sustainable. Like I really didn't think about, oh, I want to lose after that juice cleanse and I put on the weight. It wasn't, oh, I want to lose weight. I want to lose like 50 pounds by a certain amount of time. For me, I don't care if it's a pound a week. I don't care if it's a pound a month. I just want to feel better, like in my body. Right?
That's cat. I'm calling cat, bro. You wouldn't have cared if you were losing a pound a month.
That's what I got to. That's what I got to. I ended up hiring, this is before I hired you. So I knew I'd followed you on YouTube, but for me and again, I played sports, I lifted weights, but the relationship I had with that shit was horrible too. I hated working out, like hated it. I remember telling myself doing squats in college, once I'm done with college, like I'm never going to do squats again. Like, fuck that. Never going to do squats again. And I don't think I did for 10 years.
I find that true. I find that true for both athletes and people in the military that I work with. They have this negative relationship with exercise.
The relationship is horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And for me, that started to shift when I hired a trainer back in December of 2019, and a pretty expensive trainer. I live in Miami, very expensive trainer. And I was my most expensive bill at the time. I was like, I'm going to feel this financially. So like, I better show up. And I did. And again, that was December 19th. So right before COVID was coming, right? And luckily with the trainer that I hired, he had a gym at his house. In Florida, things didn't really shut down. I don't even think we really wore masks around that time either. But he had a gym about a mile away from where I lived. So my warm up, and at that time, I was probably like 275 pounds or so, like when I started with him. And he had a whole group of us would go there, and I became a part of that little community. And again, even during that time, I wasn't losing a ton of weight, but I started to just feel better. And I've been pretty consistent since then. And I think I hired you about a year and a half later, once I got to a point where I was like, okay, I want to take this to another level. Luckily it was really cool, like how I met you in person, because it was right before my 40th birthday. Met Willie at that time too. But it was right before my 40th birthday. I'm like, okay, I know I need to make a change. There's not a lot changing in me physically. I need to get around some different energy. And like, I remember reaching out to you, finally, like having the balls to reach out to you. To me, you were like this figure that was unreachable, right? That's how I thought back then. And luckily, like you happened to be in Miami like that week. So we ended up meeting in person. We went to go work out, and I hired you that week. And we've obviously gotten super close since then. But again, that was the start of taking the mental and the physical and like really putting that together. And for me, again, it's been a slow thing, because like I've gained a little bit of, so I'd say since then. So we met officially in August in person, August of 2021. And I've gained a little bit of weight, lost some weight, been through some life situations, work and whatnot. And really here within the last couple months, like really connecting with you on another level, I've taken it to another level physically and mentally.
So what do you weigh right now?
Yeah, this morning I was 212.
And your heaviest you said was 300.
Yeah, 294, but right about 300.
Around 300.
And the big thing with that, because again, I told you, with me, it was like people would even tell me when I was bigger, oh, you don't look fat. Like you're not, but I wore baggy ass clothes and I have a thin face. So for me, what I remember, I was 36% body fat at my biggest, 36% body fat. And that I measure once a month, and I'm at 14% now.
Nice. No, that's amazing. And I know you feel a hell of a lot better, bro.
Absolutely.
Big time. So both of you guys mentioned tracking macros, right? And I think I remember when I was overweight, bro, I used to hear about macros, and it would just feel like a fucking chemistry puzzle would just like pop up in my head. I was so confused. I had no clue what these numbers meant. I'm seeing 40, 40, 20 everywhere. Like, Willie, talk to me about the role that level of tracking, like really measuring everything that you put into your face. Tell me the role that played in your success in transforming your body.
So honestly, man, macros for me, I actually think made me fatter at one point. Because when I first hired a trainer who tried to tell me to track macros, I didn't understand it. And I was someone that when I would get frustrated and I didn't understand it, it would just make me say, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'll figure it out. I'm going to eat crazy today and then I'm going to figure it out tomorrow. So it used to actually make me pass the buck because I really grew up in the like phase of like meal plans and somebody telling me what to eat. That this whole idea of that you can eat anything and you can fit it into your macros felt like almost like information overload. And it wasn't until I truly understood the concept of, hey, foods aren't bad or good, but it's really about the amount of calories and then what makes up the food that you truly have to understand the value in it. And once I was able to understand macros, like for me, it really became like a great tool because I'm someone who didn't want to be fat anymore. I have a completely different experience than Juan. It would have fucking tormented me if I only lost 1 pound a month. I didn't care about necessarily feeling good. I didn't want to be fat no more. Bro, I'm still like a vain person when I was fat. So like at a certain point, bro, it was like, yo, I just wanted to like metaphorically cut my stomach off. So I literally like tracked macros because I wanted to make sure that like I could guarantee fat loss. That was like my thing. And so once I knew that, hey, you can like measure and get data behind it to lose fat, bro, everything I did was tracked. It didn't matter. But at the end of the day, for me, it was all about lose fat now. You know what I mean? And I still tell people to this day, bro, if you really are serious about losing fat and you're talking about losing fat fast and healthy, you have to track. If you don't track, bro, you're either going to undereat or overeat. Bro, you know, once you're fat, the fat cells in your body, they don't go away. The fat cells just shrink. That means they're always there. So that means that it is much easier to rebound and gain weight if you don't fucking control it. Mm-hmm. So keep this in mind. Like a lot of people like, I don't need to track. I'll just eat fruit and salads and juice all day. Okay, bro. Now you don't really know what's going on in your body. And so then when you're done doing that, you're not going to have any type of like awareness on like when you're overeating or undereating. And most of those people, that's why they rebound. To truly understand what you put in your body, bro, is what helps you like after you do this crash diet, after you do whatever you think you're going to do to lose weight. You got to figure out what can you do for the rest of your life. And the one thing tracking macros did for me, bro, it helped me understand even on the days, if I go downstairs right now and order pizza and 8 cookies for the rest of the day, I still know what the fuck I'm putting into my body. I can still guesstimate. Like literally me and Brix would be like, yo, I ate about like 6,000 calories yesterday. I have awareness on it, even when I do dumb shit.
Calorie awareness is such a key tool. So the thing, I think every client I've ever had who successfully lost a significant amount of weight and kept it off, they were all committed to the tedious process of tracking their intake, right? At the very least, they track their calories and their protein. I've never in my life seen anybody who was more fucking obsessive about this shit than this dude, Willie Moore. No,
Sounds
listen,
like it.
Yo, listen, this dude, he has 2 modes though. Willie's either fucking on or he's off. Completely, right? Most of the time he's on. And you'll invite Willie to a birthday dinner. Willie will be at his own child's birthday party and will not fucking eat a thing. And at all. And he will eat his normal, whatever he ate, whatever's in his program, he will eat that. He won't budge. And he's stoic as fuck about it, bro. It's straight face. He doesn't care who's eating what. He's at the table, but he still shows up. He's still there. Right.
But you know
he's
what,
sipping
bro,
on his fucking Diet Coke.
You know what's so funny though, and I think this is when I talk to people about it, is I'm like a get in and get out kind of person. So for me, I think about how long do you really want to be on this diet? Because I do believe that like people who like stop and go, come in and out, it actually makes you be on a diet longer. Because when you're not tracking, let's say me and Brix just for the next 4 days decide to eat whatever fuck we want to eat. That's fine. But those 4 days, you're going to have to make it up somewhere. So now it like puts me in like a diet for a longer period of time. I just want to be done with it. So I just look at it like, and I think most people who are probably like in the majority, that's how they feel too. They just don't know how to do it.
What do you mean you just want to be done with it?
Like meaning if I want to lose 30 pounds, right? I want to be like, hey, I want to start in January and be done in April. And then I want to get back to some type of like balance. Whereas like, I don't want to be trying to lose, like how many times y'all actually meet motherfuckers that's been trying to lose the same 30 pounds for years?
Yeah.
Just of that.
Yeah,
like,
most people.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I told this to Brix, and this is a podcast, so we keep it a band. One of the things when I first started the diet in 2017, I didn't tell nobody because I didn't want to be that dude that you was like, yo, he said he was on a diet and he still looks the fucking same. That's not me, bro. I can't be that. So like at the end of the day, like I'm somebody like if I tell Brix that I'm going on a diet, nigga, when you see me, you're gonna know that I'm about that action. And if I'm not gonna be about that action, I'm not talking about it. I hate motherfuckers who just talk.
No, that's a fact. And see, the thing is, I have a little bit of a more liberal approach to dieting, right? This is how I eat. So Willie have seasons where he's eating like this, and then he has seasons where he's eating like that. Me, on the other hand, I'm pretty much eating the same year round, and I'm just making little adjustments based on whatever physique I want to have for that particular time of the year. So I'm a little bit more balanced, but I've also learned lately that it is absolutely necessary for me to track what the fuck I eat forever. I'm going to have to do this shit forever. So I've recently made peace. Am I going to have to? I hope not. Let me say that. Like, I don't want to wish that upon myself, but I'm still in the stage in my relationship with food where there's still this level of compulsion that I need the accountability that tracking provides in order for me not to overdo it with certain foods. I want to eventually eat no processed foods. Eventually. Like, I'm not there yet. No processed foods. I really want to get rid of the foods in my life that I have this compulsive relationship with. The added sugars. So, because that's the thing that activates the compulsion for me, it's the sugars. I'm not a real like chips and crackers kind of person. That was never my issue, right? It's always been the sugar. So for me, it's like even the peanut butter right now. Like peanut butter is is one of my addictions, and it's not because of the peanut butter. It's honestly, I know it's because of the sugar that's in the peanut butter that I eat, because I don't have that same type of compulsive relationship with peanut butter when I'm eating the peanut butter that doesn't have the added sugar. So I'm like, I have to cleanse the palate, and the We Are God's group coaching program, we're going to be starting a no sugar added, no sugar, no processed foods challenge on the 15th. And I'm excited about that because it'll give me an opportunity to get all of that shit out of my body and get it off my palate so that I can try to reset that aspect of my relationship with food. But that shit's hard, bro. Sugar's like crap, bro. It's insane. And I don't understand. And it's only here in America where they're putting sugar in everything. Like, why did someone ever put sugar in peanut butter? Like, why? You eat peanut butter with jelly. That's where you're supposed to get the sugar from. It's like they're doing that shit on purpose to make us, they call it highly palatable foods, to have us addicted to these foods to the point where we can't stop eating them. Yeah, I'm looking forward to freeing myself from that shit. It's been a fucking struggle though.
But I do think ultimately the idea is to be more intuitive and and this is where I think me and you talked about this before. I think you have to go through counting macros and start to understand your why behind certain things so you can get to a point of things are just more habitual. And I think like knowing you for so long, I do think your frame or your overall like majority of the things you do have a sustainable discipline to it. Whereas I think for me, because I ate so long for fat loss, that sometimes it can be like, and that's why sometimes this idea of going on diets can be like frowned upon because it does create like an off on versus like, how do you go from, okay, I'm trying to lose fat. Now it's almost like, then how do you really get somebody to go from losing fat to getting them into like gym pop? And what happens is like a lot of the content is like fat loss or building muscle or nothing, or like they don't really have a lot of talking to people about, okay, after you lose all the fat, how do you truly make that shift to where you can go into gym pop and you don't have to worry about regain? What people don't realize is like most people, bro, like Americans, we don't have a problem losing weight. Anybody who told you that people have struggle losing weight, that's a lie. Most Americans can lose 30, 40 pounds. That's easy. However, they're going to do it. What most people struggle with is keeping the shit off. That's the nugget. They say successful people, only about 10 to 15% of people actually are successfully can keep the weight off.
Yeah. And I want to chime in on that. So I feel like I'm in between both these, right? I mentioned earlier for me, it was like, I'm going to simplify this. It's about me feeling good in my body. So Willie, when you're saying diet, I'm like, I fucking hate that shit. Like, I don't like to think that I'm on a diet. And I'm in the We Are God's group, Brix. And what that has brought to my awareness is the mindfulness behind everything that goes in my mouth. So I'm in this phase right now where I am tracking everything to a T, but I don't love doing it. And I'm really about like presence with everything. And especially the eating part of it. Because again, for me, it's about this long-term sustainable life that I want to live. And the way I'm doing it right now matters. So I can tell you, I'm way more aware of what all these foods are doing. And like you're saying, Brix, yeah, there's added sugar in fucking everything. And I find myself just being more present to whatever the fuck goes in my mouth. And being able, like even yesterday was July 4th, but I had a cookie. And I swear I would have eaten like 3 of them if I wasn't where I am mentally with it yesterday. But like I had 1. And I'm okay. I didn't get any away.
Even 3 cookies would have been a fucking win for me, bro.
Yeah, me
Let
too.
me be.
But that's what I'm saying. I think the mindfulness, like bringing presence to fucking this is a huge practice for me in life in general. I am bringing presence. I'm trying to fucking be out of thought, like the analytical, the analyzing part of me. I'm letting that bitch go, and I'm here. So that's the practice for me. And I find that it's translating into everything. And that's the reason, especially here in the last couple months, where I've been able to lose the weight that I've kept on has been the weight that's been on me for the past like year and a half. And I'm transitioning into that next phase.
I think this is a good transition into the name of this podcast. Juan, you mentioned presence and mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is a practice. Look, I'm getting goosebumps right now. Fuck. Mindfulness, because I want to do a good job of articulating the transformative power of mindfulness. Because I know a lot of people that our content reaches, typically they want to check out when we start talking about meditation or mindfulness. But I really want to frame this shit in a way. Yeah.
So I usually would check out when you talked about that shit in the past. I wasn't, to be straight up. I'm like, all right, the meditation, I can't fucking do that.
Juan, that's the thing that like I feel like when me and Brix talk to, that's the part I think people don't realize. Like 90% of people, when you hear shit like that, it feels like some hippie shit. It'd be like,
yeah,
bro,
it does.
I tell Brix all the time, like, bro, you got to understand. Like, when was the first time you even heard somebody, you even was with somebody who was like, and you was talking to one of your homies who's like, y'all meditated yesterday. How old were you?
Never.
That's my point.
Only when
That's
you
my
got,
point. Nigga, we never been in a group full of niggas. I was like, yo, you meditate today? You're like, what?
At some point, listen, but here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing. This is a 1,000-year-old practice, right? That has real life fucking applicable use that can absolutely change someone's entire existence. So me being this fucking boom from Brownsville, you feel what I'm saying, who had this transformation, if I'm saying this shit, I don't know, I may be a hippie. What the fuck does that even mean?
But listen, this is the part people don't realize, bro. I always tell people if they don't know you before, they wouldn't understand the power of it. Like when you say hippie shit, it's like saying the sun, the stews, the Mars. I'm just gonna go out there and sit in Indian style and just hope the world comes. That's hippie shit. If you ever look at 1970s hippies, we just believe the universe is gonna make it. But that shit is true. Meditation does help, but you gotta understand, people don't know your backstory. So if you're just sitting there talking about meditation and they don't know the transformation or how it helped you, they're not gonna understand it. And you got to realize most of us come from environments, bro, where we never heard of it. And the idea of just sitting still in something is like foreign.
Yes. I get it 1,000%. And I want to try to state a case for mindfulness in a way that people can really fucking internalize right now.
Okay.
That Brix was totally disconnected from his inner world. He had no idea the connection between his mind, his emotions, and the fact that he was fat, he was fucking broke, he had all of these issues in his life. He did not see the connection there because he was living life in a reactive state. I was reacting to life, right? I had no control over my impulses. I had no understanding of what was going on and why my behaviors and my eating habits and all of these things were what they were. No clue, right? mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply just being aware of what's going on in your internal world, right? In your internal world and how that relates to what's going on in your external world, right? How is this conversation I'm having with my partner affecting me mentally and emotionally? How is my stress at work impacting my desire to eat ice cream, right? Go ahead, Willie.
No, I was going to say, bro, that's the connection that people have to like, because what I hear you saying is most people get into a new habit because they're trying to destroy an old habit. And I think the thing that I hear Juan say and the thing that I just heard you say, I think the connection point is this idea of mindful eating, but mindful eating as a way to help people with their actual weight loss goals. And I think that's the disconnect sometimes I think I hear in like when you talk about meditation and then people understanding why it connects to like them being fat. Because if you just tell me meditate and that's gonna help me stop being fat, it's hard for me to connect the dots there. But at the end of the day, what you're saying is like, they don't realize, most people don't. I still don't. I've lost 100-something pounds. I'll go to Brix and be like, I'm still trying to learn my emotions on why I want to eat. Because that's not how it comes. It just comes like, yo, I want a burger. Or, hey, like today I had a good day. I want to eat sushi. Or, hey, I have a good day. I want to do this. So I don't always be like, oh shit, I'm doing this because I have anxiety. Oh shit, I'm doing this because this girl's getting on my fucking nerves. So I'm going to go eat ice cream. Like I don't always make that connection. And I've been doing this for 7 years. So if I don't always make the connection, imagine somebody who's morbidly obese. Imagine you try to connect the dots on that person to their emotion. That's what I was getting at. But like Juan just said it, he said, bro, he says gold. And this is like the target of We Are Gods. He said, if I wasn't where I was at mentally, I would have eaten more cookies. You didn't say if I wasn't. The way I would have showed up to that situation, Juan, even in 2017 is if I wasn't where I was at physically, I would have ate more cookies.
I want to share something that Brix shared in the group, right? You talked about like how the body can change. And you even touched on it, Willie, where it's not, we don't have a losing weight problem. You can fucking lose 30 pounds in 30 days. What takes a longer period of time is the mental component, like the connection. So what that can do for you. This whole trying to lose weight as quickly as you can or in 3 months because you got a wedding you got to go to, whatever the case may be. Like that's the issue. Everybody's process is going to be different. You really got to find your own groove and how you're going to come to it so that it's sustainable.
Yeah,
right.
Because I used to base if I was going to eat those cookies off of how I felt, how I looked. Like, nigga, if my abs are showing, I'm eating. Yeah, bro, fuck it. That's what I'm saying. That's why I love what you said, bro, because you are literally the testimony of what Brix is conveying about the mindfulness eating. See, I would base everything off my physical. If I felt fine, or if I felt like my clothes looked good, or, you know what I'm saying? My mind was like, yo, I don't have no problem with no women. I'm eating. My shit was still coming from a sour place even after I lost weight.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's so important to educate people on the importance of mindfulness. So you can't eat mindfully if you don't understand the concept of mindfulness. Bingo. You gotta you have to start by just practicing being mindful in general. And it's a lot simpler than people think.
Brix, don't y'all, and I know I've heard you say it before, it's like one of the things, like even take the meditation to the side for a second. I remember you told me this one time, and I don't know if this is something you guys practice, but it's like almost like writing down how you feel before you eat. Even if you don't change anything, if you can like, yo, for a whole week, eat whatever the fuck you want, but before you eat that pizza, just talk about what happened that day or how you feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just start connecting your emotions to the food? That shit would unlock a whole nother level.
And that's why in the We Are Gods group coaching program, I have a journaling practice that there's accountability around. Hey, reflect on your day. Intentional self-reflection is such a fucking powerful tool. If I can only suggest one habit for you to develop, it wouldn't be meditating, it would be journaling, right? Because that almost has a mindfulness component built into it. Right? Because you're building awareness around, like you said, the connection between certain behaviors, certain choices, and certain emotions. You start to map out what the fuck is going on. And when you can understand that and it clicks, you can't unsee, oh shit, I had this argument with my girl and I was all fucking bent out of shape. And then all of a sudden, boom, I'm craving ice cream. Once you experience that, it's like an aha moment happens. And from that point on, you can start to be more aware and mindful of what's happening, and you can start to slowly untangle those wires.
I was reading this the other day, like even meditation, like scientifically has been proven to actually make people smarter. It actually develops to your brain, like actually meditating.
Yeah, it thickens the cerebral cortex.
Yeah.
Like it's a physiological change that happens. It literally, whatever the opposite of atrophy, muscle building, it just builds certain areas of your brain. The way that mindfulness helps you lose weight is because you become more aware. You become more aware of the connection between your mental and emotional world and the way you choose to eat. You start to understand there's several different types of hunger, right? Willie, you recently just did a 48-hour fast.
Mm-hmm.
You got to experience what real hunger is versus that hunger you experienced 3 hours after you ate your last meal.
Bro, I seen this clip. I think I'm telling you, Instagram be fucking listening to us, bro. But anyways, I was on Instagram. They literally had this clip of, they said the human body can go 30 days without food. Put that in perspective.
I've heard that. Put
that in perspective, though. We be about to die if we don't eat for 4 hours. That's all mental, because your body's
all mental.
Our body's
all
says
mental.
it can go 30 days. So anything, if our body's telling us 30 days and we feel like 3 hours we're about to pass out, who's really telling us that we're hungry?
It's the mind. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. We can spend 2-3 hours in the fucking gym every day. But if you don't strengthen the mental muscle, you're always going to run into a dead end. You've successfully lost weight, Willie, but you still haven't gotten that feeling of arrival of, oh, damn, I figured this shit out. And it's now forcing you to pay more attention to what's going on in your mental and emotional world. Because, yeah, and I feel like that's inevitable for anybody who is seeking complete, like, this feeling of fulfillment in their weight loss journey, right? This feeling of, oh shit, I feel totally good. That moment doesn't happen without the mindfulness, without the mental and emotional component being in check.
Your content is so needed, and I feel like when people don't get it, this is the problem, is because you got to remember, I met Brix after I lost weight, right? So I was privy to see him and know his content before, and we weren't talking that much before because we were talking about fat loss, and I've seen your transformation. I feel like there's a lot of people don't realize, like, majority of the time the content that gets promoted is either lose fat, build muscle. I told you there's not a lot of time spent on the habits and the discipline to move you from fat loss to gen pop. And I'm telling you, I'm still listening.
Explain what gen pop, because I know a lot of people don't understand what the fuck gen pop means. It's a jail reference, by the way.
Gen pop is what we just talked about. How do you go from a successful fat loss journey to just a lifestyle? I literally have it on my
general population is what he means. General population.
Yeah. That, guys, okay. I speak in hyperbole. Being on a diet feels like, yeah, this motherfucker, right? Look, so we talked about moving it to becoming a lifestyle, right? Like the things that you share with your Here We Are God's program, bro. The reason why it's so big, you talk about that, because you're talking about how do you do this shit for 40 years? Here's the problem, though. Here's the problem. And I bet you, if we got in that class, most people, I can tell you, when I was fat, I didn't give a fuck about 40 years. I wanted to lose fat now. And that's why sometimes it's so hard for people to understand. Because when you're fat, you just care about, like what Juan said, I'm tired of this suit not fitting. I got to go on vacation. It's summertime. I don't get no bitches. I don't get no men. I don't get this. We think so shallow. We think about a quick fix. We live in a quick fix environment. Nobody taught me to say, okay, after you lose 130 pounds, now what? If you would have asked me that at 330 pounds, I'm like, nigga, I'm going to be lit. Get out my face. I'm not thinking.
And that's not true.
Exactly. That's the point.
It's just not true.
It's not true. But you couldn't tell me that, bro. I'm telling you, if Brix would have been any regular dude on the street, and he would have just pointed, I said, what you going to do after 130 pounds? I'm like, nigga, I'm going to be good. That's what I would have told him. That would have been my answer.
Life's going to be perfect. No problems.
Thank you.
After that, right? No problem.
I wouldn't
I'm set.
Exactly. But now listening and talking, honestly, bro, I feel like the content and what Brix is talking about means so much to me because I understand it now. You guys got to remember, I lost all the weight in 2018. It's 2024. And I still have moments where I'm still trying to figure this shit out. It's so hard. Like Brix said, that's why you need the tools of meditation. That's why you need the tools of journaling, because it is a daily struggle. It is something that you have to think about in a massive lens. I'm about to be 40 in a couple of years. I'm going to be 50, 60. None of us want to be getting our leg cut off at 55 for high blood pressure. stuff you're doing, Brix, is really like what people really need to hear. They just don't understand it yet. They don't get it. Nobody wants their fucking leg cut off because they ate cookies at 35. It wasn't worth it.
So the reason why I'm never gonna give up, because you tell me this shit all the time. Nobody want to hear this shit. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if they don't want to hear it. I'm going to yell this shit from the fucking top of the mountain for as long as I live. Because here's the thing. We all struggled so much during our weight loss journey, very unnecessarily. And all it took was a little pivot in our perspective, a little bit more of understanding on what's going on just a little bit below the surface, right? That would have relieved so much of the fucking anguish that we experienced during the weight loss journey. If I can find a way, it may be a tall order, but if I can find a way to reach people who are still in the beginning stages of their journey and let them know, listen, bro, yes, we're going to fucking get you to lose weight. We're going to get you to change your body. But let me introduce some tools to you that's going to help that process become a lot simpler and smoother for you, so you don't have to fucking go through the mental anguish, the emotional anguish that I had to go through. You feel what I'm saying? So that's the main mission for me.
And I feel like it will make their lives easier than it was for me, because once they get to that goal, they'll have a mission, they'll have a light. Whereas like me getting to the end of the tunnel, I felt like I didn't know at that time where to go. So then you end up like, I've literally popped between 170 and 200 pounds for the last 6 years. I never was morbidly obese again. I never did that. And then to the outside, nobody really could tell. But like Brix said, I would have these seasons of 190, 170, 190, 170, 190, 170, to where, because you don't have a guiding principle on how to live, when I say gym pop, after you lose the weight. And so sometimes it feels like there's finality to it. And so one of the things that I think that I love about the whole mindfulness and like the meditation part of the content is that it truly gives you like this idea of what to do long term. Because like I've even, guys, this is something we don't talk about a lot. I even get sometimes angry at myself for even have been fat. Me and Brix talked about this. This is why his content is needed, but people don't understand it. I've had pockets, like I have battle scars on my stomach that I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I ever got 300 pounds. That shit still fucks with me sometimes. Like, because I'm like, yo, nigga, how did you get here? This is after the fat loss. You look at pictures like, nigga, how could you? That's a mental thing that you gotta manage, but people don't get there. And then you say, damn, I got this loose skin that's gonna be here forever now because I just couldn't control myself 8 years ago. That's why the content is needed. But people don't know that when they're in it.
But here's the thing too. I think during the beginning of our journey, right, the world is a lot different today than it was 7 years ago, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. And I'm very optimistic because, and this is why I want to target a different type of individual now, who is a little bit more aware of the things that I'm talking about, even if they haven't lost their way. Listen, you know how many people I run into and I have conversations with who are obese, and they're like, yo, listen, I understand it's because I have an emotional eating problem. I understand that I have no impulse control. I need to work on what's going on in my mind. And people are starting to wake up to the reality of the impact of these things that used to be very taboo, right? A lot of the shit that used to be taboo, a lot of the taboo-ness is wearing off. So I think, yes, I was positioned a little ahead of the curve, but I think people are waking up now, and eventually it's going to be normalized, right? The journaling, the mindfulness, and all of these things are going to be more normalized in the weight loss conversation, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I think it's, like you said, I think there's going to be a subset. I think there's like the people who get morbidly obese though. I don't know. I still feel like that we get so, and I was morbidly obese, so I'm coming from a different angle. Like when you're morbidly obese, bro, it's a different spiral. Like it's a different, like immediate call to action. I don't know. What do you think, Juan?
Well, I'm with Brix on how I believe that things have shifted, like the conscious of the world in general, right? So transformation, journaling, meditating, that it doesn't trigger like it used to. So I can see how, Brix talking about how he's run into people that are like, oh, I know it's because and what I have to say to that, and what I think our group and like what we can bring to the table here is like, when I hear you, Willie, say, oh, I have these scars and you're still fucking struggling with that. I was definitely there. And then I'd put on the weight and I fucking look at myself a certain way. And the more and more I've gone inward and accepted those fucking parts of me and loved on that guy, like, I love Fat Juan. The relationship I have to him. There was a long time, and I can see the correlations. When I talk shit to myself, I'd pack on the weight. I'd lose it really quick and I'd pack it right back on. So for me, the consistency over the past couple of years, but more importantly, going inward, I'll even put it on my post sometimes. Fat Juan, I love you, but I don't miss you. So like giving that part of me love, that's come from the meditation. Maybe we'll get into it down the road, but I've also dove deep into plant medicine. That's brought me back home to myself. Oh, here's what I want to say to this, because I think this will resonate to those people that if you're big and you want to have those moments where there's full acceptance, it really is about the sustainability of think about when you feel good, right? Like when you're sharing a really good moment with friends, family, whatever the case may be, and you're fucking just in it, you're not thinking about like the physical you or anything like that. Like you're in this energy, right? And what I think when you develop these tools and you eventually get like the body of your dreams and all that shit, like it all meets in that moment. And it's about sustaining more of those moments, being able to enjoy more of those moments, being in those moments as often as you possibly can. I talked about earlier how I fucking hated working out. I don't hate working out. Maybe the process of getting there and going to work out can be painful, but eventually I get myself into this mindset where it's, man, I'm loving on my body. This is straight loving on my body. Then I can look down at the scars, and I'm not saying that those thoughts don't creep up from time to time, Willie, because they definitely do. But there's more of the rewiring of the relationship that I have to that previous version of me.
I think that's what I was getting at, is I think that people don't realize why those tools are important in the now, because they don't have the vision to understand that all these things are going to come. There's going to come a time where fat loss isn't a priority. There's going to come a time where there's going to have other things that are going to come into your life, because you're going to feel like you've already done it. And you're going to need the tools, the mindful tools. You're going to need the journaling, and you're going to need the meditation to hold you and keep you in moments where it's not just about seeing the scale go down. And that's what I was getting at, is that when I was 330 pounds, I didn't understand what was ahead. And I think sometimes we talk as people who already is ahead. It's like you already
went there.
Right. But remember, there's people who are not there yet. So we don't know what it's like. It's like you telling somebody what it's going to take to get to a certain level in crypto. Well, when I just bought my first Bitcoin, it's hard for me to understand that crypto has ups and downs. It's hard. Like, I've been in the stock market and people tell you to remember, never get too high, never get too low. Sell when you feel right.
What does that mean? Yeah.
Not until you actually, but I've had a stock portfolio at 300K and seen it go away. So I can tell you something different now from experiencing it. But when I first was in it, it all sounded like, nah, bro, I'm up.
Yeah.
And not that long.
I got you. And speaking of that, right, here's what I think is important. Everybody needs to go down their own journey and not fucking compare their journey to somebody else's.
100%.
Because all three of our journeys are super different, right? And it really is about community. There's definitely shit that Brix says that I don't agree with. There's things that you say, I don't agree with everything, but I can respect your view and your opinion on things. And I think that's really what it's about, right? It's about being real with wherever the fuck you are. Like, and understanding there's different perspectives, and then you can try these different tools, methods, perspectives, views. Meditation has a little trigger for me. Like, I'm not really flexible. I can't sit there on my fucking knees and like I do it in my chair and like I can meditate for 5 minutes, but then my mind goes, and then Brix had me doing a little yoga practice. I can do yoga for 10 minutes, but that's me. That's how I do it. I like lifting weights and shit. So I think people need to get into their own journeys and then try different things out. And that's what we can provide, is the different perspectives. But you got to figure out your own path.
Yeah. And I guess for me, I always feel like Brix is like ahead of me. I feel like he's like, how do I say it? He's like in the right lane, and he's like on lap 2, I'm on lap 1. Because everything he says,
Yeah.
I get it and I see why you need it. What I think where me and Brix always go back and forth is, I'm like, bro, I would not know what you're saying is needed when I was on like lap -5. I wouldn't have known that. So it's like, for me, it's because I'm like farther along, everything he says makes sense to me because of where I'm at today. But if you would have told Fat Willie what present day Brix is saying, I don't know if I would have believed you.
So here's the thing. I hear you loud and clear, Willie, but at some point, and I got to put the responsibility on me, I have to find a way to reach Willie when he was in lap -5, or whatever fuck reference you just used, right? Fat. So I have to find a way, because if I can frame the journey as a mission of, without sounding too fucking hippie, a mission of self-love, right? If every person approaching weight loss can say, hey, listen, this is the ultimate expression of love for myself, and they put every decision through that filter of self-love, it's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
That'll automatically put them into the mindset of being open to more of the things that I'm talking about, these tools, mindfulness, journaling, like being more mindful when you're eating your foods, and like looking at food as nourishment for your body, and not fucking punishing yourself, and being self-compassionate. These concepts will land if a person is able to start their journey with this mission of, all right, I need to love on myself. The reason why I put on this weight is because there was a part of myself that I was trying to protect. There was a part of myself that I was fucking hating. Once I really learned to appreciate fat Brix, that's when everything came together for me. That's when it all was like, oh, okay, I see what's happening here. I had to integrate. And that's when I really found peace within myself today. Because a lot of people think, like we spoke about earlier in the episode, once I lose 100 pounds, I'm going to be lit. My fucking credit's going to be good. I'm going to fucking have all the bitches. Like like life is good. This pony's going to drop out the fucking sky. And then now I'm like, right? No, motherfuckers, it doesn't happen that way. If you don't love yourself when you're fat, if you don't go on a journey to self-love, if you are not confident when you're, or at least have that level of love for yourself to where you can start to become confident, if that's not true when you lose 100 pounds, it's still not going to be true.
Bro, and that's
Still not going to be true.
you're just so right, though. That's why I get so, bro, like me and you get so passionate, because I'm like, I feel like, because I know what you're saying is true, and I'm just like, damn, does that Fat Willie know? Like, I wish I could go to him and be like, no, nigga, like, it's like how you do anything is how you do everything. Like, it's compounding. The same, me and Brix talk about this all the time. And every time I want to center my life, I literally start tracking my food. And I thought I was the only one, and somebody in our men's group said it, and I was like, yes, I thought it was just me. Like, it literally becomes like the center of my discipline. But I didn't know. That's like you saying, like, how you do anything. The meditation, me and Brix talks all the time. I was like, bro, this year, first 3 months, I was meditating and journaling. I slowed down. I stopped it. Didn't think it was that big of a deal, because when you're in it, you don't really know. You're like, is this really working? Bro, the moment I came off,
Then you feel it, yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, I went to this nigga like, oh, on some Jay-Z shit. I was like, that shit works. I see a difference in my life.
I tell my wife the spiritual shit really works.
Bro, but and that's why I get so passionate about it. That's why we go back and forth on it, because I'm like, bro, how do we tell this person that it works? I feel like we're like on some Back to the Future shit. Because I keep saying, I'm like, bro, Fat Willie at 2017 wouldn't have understood this.
It's like, and that's the mission of this podcast, is to bridge that gap.
Yes.
Is to be the bridge that fucking gets, because we got to show it. We got to talk about it. We got to tell stories. We have to find ways to really, really illustrate so people can internalize this shit, so that they can, okay, all right, be at least open to adopting some of these fucking habits,
Right.
and to start to use some of these tools, because it will change everything. It will change everything. And that's when they'll understand that they're a God. When I started to fucking use mindfulness in moments when I'm struggling mentally, emotionally, right? Whether it's with food, whether it's with my relationship with women, whether it's my relationship with my kids, when I'm feeling any sort of heightened emotion and I feel out of fucking control, when I'm able to reach into my bag and pull out a tool, right? Whether it's mindfulness. Yo, listen, let me give y'all a quick story, and I'm going to end the episode on this note. So yesterday, I was fucking struggling, bro. I was struggling. I've been ever since you triggered me that day, Willie, we'll get into this another episode. Willie triggered me the other day, but that you triggered me, and I've ever since felt this low grade suffering 24/7, right? Since that day. Yesterday, I'm having all sorts of negative thoughts. I'm fucking doubting myself. I'm reflecting on all my failures. I'm looking at areas in my life that should have been better by now, but aren't. And what did I do? I fucking said, you know what? I'm going to dedicate an hour this evening and I'm going to journal. I pulled out ChatGPT. I said, hey, ChatGPT, this is what I'm feeling. This is what's going on. This is what some of these thoughts are sounding like. Can you give me some journaling prompts to help me fucking process this shit? She spit out some journaling prompts. I sat down. I fucking literally, because you guys know how mindful I am, I gauged how I felt before I started, and I felt my emotions dissipate. I literally observed me processing my emotions and shifting my state. I shifted my fucking emotional state. I went from a level 9 dark depressed to uber fucking optimistic and joyful in a matter of an hour and 15 minutes by using this tool. There's nothing more empowering than that. I can be in the shittiest mood and I will sit down for meditation and I will fucking totally shift my fucking energy. I will pull myself out of dark places. And it's once you get to fucking experience that, bro, it's, oh no, this shit really works. I tell my wife the spiritual shit really works. It really fucking works. And it's not even this esoteric, fucking grandiose. This is science supported.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of the era we live in now. It's not just these fucking pie in the sky hippie practices. It's no, we now know what's happening in the brain, literally what's happening in the brain. And when you're able to document your feelings and you're able to observe the shifts, it's like, all right, nah, this shit is for real. You know what I'm saying? This is for real. And that is what makes me feel like a fucking god. When I can be in a fucking shitty emotional space, in a dark place, where I'm like millimeters from feeling like taking my own life. If I can go from there, having those thoughts, iterations, to in an hour and 15 minutes feeling like I'm on top of the fucking world, why wouldn't I feel like a god? You feel what I'm saying? That used to would have taken me a week, right? And now I could do it in an hour using these tools. This is why I'm so passionate about talking about this shit. Even if motherfuckers are not hearing me, I have to find a better way of communicating it then. It's me. I have to, because this is how, as a species, especially as men, black and brown men, we will evolve. Once we open ourselves to some of these life-changing fucking tools, bro, this is thousands of years old. This is not some new age shit. They call it new age. I hate when they fucking call it new age. It's not new age at all. This is the oldest shit ever.
I want to say something.
It's all coming back.
No, I want to say something. Two things. Number one, there's science behind it says that meditation improves stoicism. So like you become more stoic, you become more in control, like Brix said. That's a fact. It's not our opinion. This is fact. You'll be able to manage situations much better after meditating. Here's one other fact that we should noodle on as we think about this podcast. If you were to interview, I think they said about 80 to 90% of people that's in prison, most people don't even remember the emotion that they had when they did the act, when they shot the person, when they committed the crime, when they slapped the fuck out of somebody, sold the drug, whatever the fuck they did, crashed your car or whatever. They don't remember. There's a saying that says most logic can't live in heightened emotion. Imagine if we were able to really educate people to manage their emotions and become more in control, like Brix said, through mindfulness. The amount of things the aspects of the people's lives that would improve. Health is just one of them. The reason why we have to live in health and why Brix lives in health is because that's what the platform is. But what he's really telling you is that when you control that shit, it's going to improve your relationships, your finances, your family, and your health. It becomes even a bonus. That's becoming a god. And that's why we're talking about this stuff outside of the YouTube. YouTube we have to talk about it from a health and fitness because that's why you came. The podcast is about how we're going to tell you how you're going to make more money, how we're going to improve your relationships, how we're going to make you a better father, how we're going to make you a better lover, how we're going to make you better spiritual.
Love it. That's it. Until next week, motherfuckers, share the podcast. Hit us up on social media. Willie, share your Instagram.
Willie underscore goes in.
And Juan, what's your Instagram?
At Evolves with Juan.
All right, I obviously will put all of the details in the fucking show notes. Screenshot this podcast. If you're listening, I swear to God, if you're listening right now and you screenshot this podcast, I'm going to send you a t-shirt. I'm going to send you a t-shirt because if you're listening now an hour and change in, then you are my people for real. All right, so screenshot it, share it on social media, tag me, and I will send you a free t-shirt. That's my word. All right, and until next week, peace out, y'all.